I'm here today on April the 2nd at the Air Force Museum. I'm going to do some videos for my YouTube channel on the Vinci Machines in Motion exhibit, which is a temporary display. It's here until May the 2nd. So we're going to do a little bit of exploration. These are working models of Da Vinci creations that you can actually hands-on try many of them. Da Vinci was a man well ahead of his time. And these are working models based off of his drawings. So above us is a model of the ornithopter. And it was designed to be pedaled and the wings flapped like a bird, which is how they thought everybody would fly in the future.
I'm new. I've been here a month.
This is a people-powered helicopter design that you held on and you walked in circles and that ran the rotors theoretically. Again, just a theory. Another angle of the people-powered helicopter. And this is a working model of his wing that as you work the lever you can actually see it flapping. So this is Joe, one of the volunteers working this to show how it actually worked. This is part of this exhibit. It's actually hands-on. You can see how they work. You can see how the wing actually expands and contracts like a bird's wing. Thank you. An early wooden mortar design that he designed. And this would have been a predecessor to a volley gun. You would load each of the barrels and fire it, and they would just fire in a volley to take down the enemies. A predecessor to the machine gun. The man was way ahead of his time. So it would take out a huge amount of enemy soldiers. And you loaded it, it wasn't a muzzle loader actually, it was a breech load. It loaded through the small door here at the back that you can see. People think that the tank was a modern invention, but this was Da Vinci's take on the tank back all those centuries ago. We'll do an outside trip around it so you can see it. You see there are barrels pointing in all 360 degrees. So people did design armored vehicles. And then we'll take a look inside so you can see how it actually was powered to drive. You see the cranks, they would turn the cranks and that would move the drive wheels to make it drive. And just like a modern tank, you slowed one wheel or two wheels and that would allow it to turn. This is a premise that's still used in agriculture today. This is called the Archimedes screw. As you turn the screw, you can transport grain up and down. It's used on combines and grain bins to transport grain up and down. But he took the Archimedes screw and expanded on it to make an elevator. This one was actually used to lift water, but the same principle is used on grain augers today in modern farming equipment. This was Da Vinci's spinning battery. As it revolves, it stores energy, and the balls act as counterweights. It would store energy, and then that energy could be used to power something else. Kind of like a governor on an old steam traction engine. An early hygrometer for measuring humidity. This is a brilliant design. Cotton in one side, wax in the other, and as the cotton absorbed water, it would make it heavier, unbalance the scale, and that would tell you how much moisture was in the air. This was used on early wind tunnels even. An anemometer still used by weathermen and meteorologists today. As the wind blew, the scale would go up and down to show the force of the wind, and the little weather vane on top would turn to tell you the direction. This shows mechanical advantage, still used by the military today. By using a series of ropes and pulleys, you can greatly increase the force of lift. Even though this smaller block is much lighter than the big one, you see how it's able to hold it in position. Whereas if you had one pulley, it would not hold it. And that's an example of what's called mechanical advantage. Another version of an anemometer to measure wind speed. It can also be used for water. It would attach a weight to the pulley, and the greater the speed, it would lift the weight. Worm gears that are still used in transmissions and still used today.
He represents someone who overcame a number of social obstacles and really does show what we're capable of. Da Vinci's genius catapulted the amount of obscurity and into the courts of kings.
As you turn the crank, the upper gear would turn, and that drives the spur gear.
He becomes immortal.
And a rotary, basically a rack and a pinion. Converts rotary motion to linear.
In the city-states of Eden, humanism.
For Alex Steele, this would be an early drop hammer or drop forge hammer. Now they're powered by either hydraulic or electric or pneumatic. Just an early mechanical one, you turn the crank and it would drop the hammer. See if I can get in a position to demonstrate it here.
A young boy discovers the world. Almost from the beginning, the mysteries of nature fascinate him. But young Leonardo has no real place in the world, no future. He is the bastard child of a respected notary and a poor farmer's daughter. Because of his
Made it much easier for blacksmiths over that repeated hammering motion.
Destined for life as a tradesman, he cannot even take his father's name. He is known as Leonardo.
Then turning rotary motion into reciprocating.
His family will spend no money on his formal education. In 1468, when Leonardo is 16, his father sends him to Andre de Verrocchio, a highly regarded Florentine